This is Muslim Network TV's debut for a fashion talk show about Muslim women, modest fashion, and the modern age. My name is Hakeemah Cummings, and I will be the host of the show, otherwise known as Hakeemah CMB. I am a modest fashion stylist as well as a social media influencer, and I have been working in the modest fashion industry or the hijab fashion industry for more than 10 years as a stylist and now as an influencer and as a talk show host. And I want to give Muslim Network TV a huge round of applause. Everywhere you are, give Muslim Network TV a round of applause for spotlighting Muslim women and their celebration of the hijab journey. Today, we're going to be talking about innovation in modest fashion, meaning designers who have created new accommodating ways of wearing the hijab. The hijab is an old concept, deeply rooted in our religion and traditions before us. But there are ways that Muslim women are wearing hijab today that are completely different, completely new than any time in the past. So today we're spotlighting two designers who have created brand new hijab fashion concepts from Ruuq as well as Veil Street. So we'll introduce Ruuq first. Alizar Tawil is the founder and CEO of Ruuq, a pioneering modest fashion brand in 2020. She has created a unique, first of its kind, patented hijab bodysuit to empower women to wear hijab through fashion. Alizar has gone on to win Bloomberg TV and Amazon Prime's 2-minute drill pitch competition, earning $50,000 in cash and prizes and the grand prize of 2021. She is also the winner of the TIE Women Levant and MENA pitch competitions, where she won a total of $25,000 in 2022. As a trailblazer in the field, Alizar continues to inspire and uplift sisters by providing them with a platform to express their personal style while remaining true to their values. So welcome, Alizar.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have another guest today. Her name is Kady Meite. She is the owner and founder of Veil Street. Her family reigns from the Ivory Coast, and she is a 22-year-old entrepreneur from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She has been a self-employed entrepreneur since the age of 16, and Veil Street is her second e-commerce business, so a youth entrepreneur. Kady is a recent college graduate and is in continuous pursuit of entrepreneurship. So welcome, assalamu alaikum, to Kady.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you both for being here and being the queens of patenting designs for new hijab fashion. Like, this is revolutionary. And I wanted to start off by asking Alizar, the owner of Ruuq, to show us a little bit more about your designs. Like, what is a hijab bodysuit? Show us the colors, show us the range, show us the different options. And we want to know, why is this particular thing so useful?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. First of all, once again, I just want to thank you guys so much for having me on today. Alhamdulillah, this is such an honor. And I think before I really get into the explanation of what the Ruuq bodysuit is really about, it helps to have a little bit of context. So if I take you back to the summer of 2019, I sort of found myself standing in front of the mirror, looking at my outfit and thinking, wow, this isn't me at all. I was experiencing what you would call like a mid-hijab crisis. You see, I, like so many Muslim women, struggled to find a style that sort of suited me, one that was modest yet fashionable. And I always felt like my options were limited in terms of what I could wear. And my personality sort of got lost in the process. So to remedy the situation, I would oftentimes layer multiple items of clothing to achieve a desired look. But it was always so consuming. I mean, each look always required like long sleeve shirts, turtlenecks, the undercaps, and then the hijab, and then pins to keep everything in place. And then one day it hit me, what if I could just create a product that could do the function of all of those items and make any outfit instantly modest? And that is when our Ruuq patented hijab bodysuit was born. So in brief, the hijab bodysuit is essentially a mock neck bodysuit with the undercap attached, designed to provide full coverage while preventing your garment from riding up. So I created two versions of the product, one with and one without sleeves. And our unique bodysuits are the foundation are the foundation to any hijabi outfit. So basically, you have your bodysuit, which looks like any other bodysuit. However, it has the special undercap underneath. I can show it a little bit here. And it comes in 10 neutral colors so that you can create unlimited styling options. And this year, after popular demand, we actually introduced a nursing model, which is perfect for moms who are on the go and may wish to nurse their babies freely, but also discreetly. All of our bodysuits are available in sizes small to 3XL. And that's the story.
MashaAllah, I have been rocking with Ruuq and Alizar for a long time. As soon as I saw your bodysuit, I knew that this was going to be so essential for hijabi wardrobes. When you talk about staples, everyone needs a hijabi bodysuit. Once you have it, then you'll realize how much you were missing when you didn't have it. When you were doing all of these different pieces and trying to match things like the sleeve to the this to the that, the bodysuit is definitely an essential. Kady, tell us a little bit more about your invention as well. On your website, because I did look you up, of course, it says that you carved out in a niche in fashion where hijabis and streetwear lovers can come together. So tell us exactly what is your hijab, hoodie meaning hoodie, and then the jab, hijab, so hijab, I like that word. Show us the different colors, the lengths, and tell us about your product.
Absolutely. So I'd like to start off by saying that it's a very practical and easy to use solution. I see like we're on the same wavelength here. I kind of have a similar story. So it started off with me standing in front of a mirror and saying out loud, why aren't there hoodies that just come with built-in hijabs? I'm someone who grew up being deeply in love with streetwear. I feel like I found a lot of comfort wearing hoodies, and they're just always so perfect. It's never too hot, never too cold. But on this specific day, I actually was making content. I had just partnered with TikTok, and I was very shocked and like happy to work with them. And they reached out to me regarding my first business, and I wanted things to go well. I wanted things to be like perfect, I'd say. And I was having a hard time. I feel like I have headscarves in every shape, color, size, fabric, from bamboo to chiffon to so much more, but I was still having a hard time. And I thought, why isn't there something that just comes ready to use? And I feel like in business, for all my years, I always knew that the best in business are those who provide a solution or solve a problem. And so when I had that thought, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I very vividly remember running downstairs. My mom was like cooking in the kitchen, talking on the phone with like family back home. And I said, Mom, I just had an epiphany. And she's like, a who? And I was like, a Mark Zuckerberg moment. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she just like continues talking, and I run back upstairs and I started the whole process. And now we're here today. In terms of colors and lengths, so we operate on a drop-based schedule, or we're getting back to that. So you'll see colors and designs are pretty limited. It's more so like first come, first serve, and not everything returns. A lot of the stuff on my site now probably won't be restocked, but we try to just bring in as much new items as possible, and whatever is in the hype or in season or what people really want to see. This past November was the first time we released our knee length versions, which I'm actually wearing right now. And I think I found the most comfort and love with that, because already you have the comfort of a hijab and a hoodie. Now you're covering so much more. And I find myself wearing them almost every day and for everything. So yeah.
Mashallah, mashallah. I absolutely love it. Again, when I just have this, I think I have this eye for when something is actually revolutionary. Like I immediately become like a huge fan. I'm like resharing your stuff on TikTok. I'm like, I'm so excited, because so many times, like you kind of, you search for your next look that you're going to wear. And like, you're kind of seeing like the same things over and over. And so when someone creates something new, it is actually a standout piece. So I want to commend both of you guys for inventing something absolutely brand new. And Kady, you did mention this idea of like a great inventor, like creating something that solves a problem. And I really wanted to like push on that as well, just a little bit more. What would be the exact problem that you would say existed, and then you solved it? For example, what I'm getting out of what you're saying is like, what both of you are saying is that there's a level of like frustration. Sometimes like the hijab itself is not frustrating. Like we love to wear hijab. We are worshiping Allah by wearing this. We are wearing the banner of Islam on our heads. We're proud. But in the practical sense of it, it can be frustrating sometimes to match things, to, you know, to make things actually look put together. So that's something I would say both of your designs solve. But what else can you say was the problem? And then this was a direct solution to that. And I'll start with Alizar from Ruuq.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Like you said, we love hijab and we do it because at the end of the day, it is to please our creator. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of us feel that, okay, hijab has to be a very specific way and therefore there's no other options available. And you see that in a lot of the modest, like the popular mainstream modest fashion, you tend to see the same things over and over again. And sometimes it just doesn't feel like you. So as I mentioned, the options feel a little bit limited. And don't get me wrong, obviously abayas and maxi dresses are okay, but sometimes you want to switch it up, as you said, and to look put together. So the problem always becomes, okay, well, how do I make sure that I'm always that I always have the proper coverage? So I didn't want women to feel like they were only limited to shopping from modest wear retailers. I want them to have like the freedom to just walk into any shop, pick up something that they love, and know that, okay, I can make this work, right? So as one customer puts it, when she went out shopping with her daughters, she just like, they'll look at an item in a store and they'll be like, oh yeah, just Ruuq it and let's go. So, and you don't have to worry about like those keyholes in the back of your dress or like a very deep V-neck or sheer sleeves. Like, we got you covered. So this is basically where the solution came from, is to just provide that security to women who want to venture out and get a little bit more creative with their hijabs, but not necessarily compromise.
Yeah, I love that. I love that slogan. I love just Ruuq it. Like, that's amazing. You should definitely put that in your bio on your social media.
I'm gonna make it a thing.
Yeah, make it a thing. And another thing, what you mentioned is like the cutouts. Sometimes you have this like perfect modest dress, long sleeves, not see-through, like everything's good. And then nowadays there's like cutouts right on the side of your body. And it's like, how am I supposed to cover that? Like, it's easy with something like, say, a V-neck, say you can like tuck in your hijab, but like when there is like a cutout on the sides that like, it's very cute, but we can't wear that. With a Ruuq bodysuit, you could just Ruuq it and you can wear it. Yes. That's okay. So same question for you, Kady. What is the exact problem that you as an inventor solved by creating the Hijab Beale Street hoodie hijab combo?
Yeah, so I feel like when I first started, I was solving a specific problem, and then it honestly extended into so much more that I couldn't even imagine. So when I came up with the idea, I was a college student and I was very used to my 8 a.m. classes. I would wear a regular hoodie with a bonnet underneath, or sometimes just a regular undercap. So obviously there's still some neck showing and you don't really feel put together, but it was what I was doing to get through my years. And when I came up with this, I feel like I left my dorm more confident every single day. I was practicing full coverage. I was feeling put together when in reality, I probably rolled out of bed and just threw it on and went to class. And then it became so much more. I slowly slipped into also wearing my regular headscarves and fully covering, because in the past, I was so used to beauty influencing and I'd always have like my neck showing, a little bit of hair is out. And it just became so much more to me than just like easy to use or like something for running errands. It helped me see myself with my actual full forehead covered and my actual neck covered and my ears covered. And I didn't even know what that felt like, but I had no choice with this product. So it became that. And then for other people, it became a way to transition into modesty. Like, oh, I'm kind of scared to start wearing a headscarf, but I think with this, I'd feel more like cool, or like I'd feel comfortable walking down the street. So it was a one-time solution for me, but like it like multiplied into so much more. So I feel like the answers are endless.
Mashallah, that's amazing. And I love that you mentioned that the hoodie itself made you feel more comfortable and more like it's something that you were already used to wearing. Like as a college student, everyone's kind of just wearing hoodies. If it's hot outside, if it's cold outside, everybody's wearing hoodies because it's comfortable. And you were not able to fully cover while wearing that hoodie, even as simple as your neck out. There were so many things that was kind of influencing you to, it's okay to leave your neck out. It's okay to do this. It's okay to do that. And before you know it, you kind of lose like the comfort that you should feel in your hijab. Meanwhile, your neck is out or the front of your hair is out or something like that. And I love being a proponent of a full coverage hijab where you're not really, if it's a compromise for you, you're not compromising those ideals and keeping yourself completely covered. So I love that you saw that problem even within yourself and was like, you know what, I can also solve it and solve it for so many other people. So we'll actually be back after a few minutes and we'll talk more with the guests. Assalamu alaikum. We are back with Ruuq Wear as well as Veil Street, two hijab fashion designers who are innovating in the modest fashion game. I wanted to start off with Kady right after the break here. In creating your brand, Veil Street, which is, again, the hoodie hijab combo, why was creating something that has never been seen before so important to you? Is there something about your story or who you are in its essence? Maybe it's your family, maybe it was an inspiration. Something about you that makes you want to kind of reinvent the wheel. A lot of times in modest fashion, like I know I've waited like with my notification bell on, waiting for the drop from like the next person who's like said that their collection's coming out this Friday. So I'm like waiting for it, and then it drops, and I'm like, sadly, I mean, I have seen this. It's beautiful, but I've seen this before, you know? So, but for your product, I've never seen it before. So what was it about your story or who you are that makes you want to create something so completely out of the box?
So I definitely say that half of it was more so the solution aspect. And then the innovation sort of came later. Like the focus on that came later. I knew it was the first when I did my research. And after I first made announcements, so many people were saying like, why hasn't this existed before? Like, this is so sort of like obvious, like it should have been a thing. And that's what sort of drove me. Like I told myself, like, this is something that deserves to exist in the community. And like, I always say, like, I want people to be able to walk into stores and like, yeah, as often as you see hoodies on racks, you should see something like this on racks as well. And so in terms of personal drive and where I come from, the one thing I'd say, I'd always tell my mom, like she'd laugh about this, but like whenever I'd have like my off days or she'd be like, oh, like, or if I'm not doing too much, I'd always say like, well, mom, Bill Gates always tells people, hire lazy people. They'll find easier ways to do things. And I feel like being the eldest of 7 kids, I always found the most weirdest ways to cope with that or like handle my siblings, I'd say. And yeah, I just always have been someone who's like extremely solution oriented. And I'm always finding a very like odd but easy way to do things. And so I say that's where it came from. And again, with my previous businesses, I was always listening to feedback of others to see how I could improve and see how I could make their lives easier. And I think that's all I've ever known. So I'd say that's where it came from.
Mashallah. I love that you have a huge family. I also have a lot of siblings, and honestly, that teamwork that you when you're growing up, you have to kind of share, you have to have teamwork. You're dealing, like, you're a teenager, but you're also dealing with like a 2-year-old brother and then like a 25-year-old sister. And it's like you have to kind of think outside the box because you can't be like one track minded. You're constantly in like interacting with lots of different people. So I can see where that comes from.
I call it managing chaos. The youngest is actually a 2-year-old right now, and like the last 4 are like boys back to back to back. So I have very like slick solutions for how to handle them. You can imagine.
Yes, I can definitely imagine with those boys. I also have brothers. And I also wanted to, again, you guys are both creators of something absolutely brand new. So you must be like super protective over your design. Like, this is your baby. You sketched it out, you found your manufacturer, you did all of the things to make this come into the world, solve so many problems and do it really beautifully. And then, like, what if somebody comes along and steals your idea? And I know that has happened to both of you. I follow you guys. I know, I've seen the videos. your designs have been copycatted. I mean, like people will steal your pictures and like market it on Alibaba as their own. Like it must be super frustrating. I know that if it happened to me, I would be mad. I would be extremely mad, and I don't know how I would contain it. And it seems like you guys keep it somehow keep it together. Maybe on camera you might keep it together, and you're like, ah, you're like screaming afterwards. But like, I wanted to ask both of you, how do you deal with copycats or people who steal? Because copycat is like a nice way to say it. Thieves of your design. Yeah. How do you deal with that, Alisar? How when it's happened to you in the past, and if it happens to you again in the future?
Subhanallah, it's inevitable, especially if you're in the fashion industry. It's something that you can't avoid. And I sort of anticipated it, which is why I applied for a patent in the first place. However, what I think is even more powerful than any patent that you can get is the community that you build, because those are the ones that are going to have your back when these copycats start popping up. For me, it was like during the time when it happened and I posted about it, it was so moving to see like your friends, your family, and your followers like virtually stand up and pressure the copycats into taking down the listing. In fact, when it happened to me, it actually they managed to get it down within 12 hours of them posting it. So subhanallah, it's incredible. And it just goes to show like when you have something genuine, people can feel that. Like they know where it's coming from and that your heart is in it. And so when they see someone trying to take that away from you, they feel that with you. And alhamdulillah, it's been such a blessing to have just such a supportive community behind me. And I think that's the best way you can do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I know it must be frustrating, but having that community definitely is like it's a consolation for you that people around the world have got your back. Mashallah. What about you, Kady? I know that I don't know if we're going to name the brand or anything, but I mean, you can do whatever you want. Somebody big took your design, and I was frustrated. I was like, no way, Vale Street's hoodie. I mean, you were called Hijabi at that point, I think. Then you rebranded to Vale Street. But anyways, how did you deal with that?
Not great. Not great at all. So I think two words that I took away from Alizar's statement was inevitable and community. Those are the two things that I had to learn the hard way, I say. So before this big brand, there was actually like back in I think February while I was at school, it was like a certain period where like in the 3-day span, it was like 5 brands at the same time just hit me out of nowhere, and they were all copying the design. And I was just like, okay, after the first 2 that I got tagged in, I was like, okay, I won't say anything. Maybe I'll message them because I don't want it to become a thing. Because if it is, then other people will copy as well. And I'll let them know, like, hey, I have patents, 4 at that. I have 2 in the United States and 2 in the United Kingdom, since that's where a lot of international customers come from. And then like within that same week, there was like more coming and coming for both the men's and the women's. So I was just a little shocked, and I didn't really know how to react. And then I had a friend say like, "Oh yeah, like make a video," and I was like, "Yeah, you know what, I will," and I did. And it did get a great reaction. It got both good and bad. Like people are like, "Oh well, you're a big brand, you're mad because there's competition," and just so much more. And so I had to learn. Like I tell everyone, like being a business owner, it's on the job training every day. Like there's no handbook that's telling me what to do. It's just me on my solo, just figuring things out each day. So I had to learn very quickly, like to expect this. But I also wanted to handle it in a professional manner. So I made sure to reach out to my own attorneys and ask them for actual advice. And then once this big brand happened, I think that's when I sort of lost it all, because it felt like I did seek that same legal advice, but I was met with a very honest opinion, and they explained that like big brands like these, their moves are calculated. They know I exist, they know my patent exists, and they don't make mistakes. But they also know that if I wanted to go to court with them, they'd probably outfund me. So like, and those are the number one things that kill small brands. So I felt helpless, and I felt like I was like, okay, so when I first started this business, I took the route that everyone said to do. I did the right things. I put so much money towards legal instead of like actually funding the passion behind it, and it felt like sort of a waste. But now I'm figuring out my options. I actually know that there's better ways to handle it, ways that don't even include me having to put up the fight, but instead another competitor, big brand, go after them instead. Should I lease my patent to them. And so, things are looking well. Allah is the best of all planners, and it really did take a hit at my confidence, or like, I don't know, I sort of had lost myself for a bit, but like she said, it's inevitable and it's going to happen. And honestly, imitation is the best form of flattery. So I'm okay.
Yes, yes, yes. And the end of that quote is that mediocrity can show to greatness. So although that big brand is like a huge brand, everybody loves it, in compared to you, you might be the greater designer. I'm just saying. So, and there's a certain power behind social media. I mean, it's like taking the power back. You can't necessarily go to their legal offices, and you can't like take them down single-handedly, but you can tell your truth and be authentic and just tell your story. And there's going to be so many people, those videos might go viral just from people knowing that a small business is being taken advantage of by a big brand. People are going to ride with your brand and ride with, quote unquote, the underdog, which is not necessarily underdog. I mean, you are the inventor of a brand new product on the market, and not a lot of those brands can actually claim that. So big applause to you guys. You're very elegant people to be able to deal with this problem with the way that you have. And inshallah, may Allah protect your brands and the future of your design process. We'll actually be back after a break. This is great conversation we're having with Ruuq and Vale Street. We'll be back with more questions for our guests after the break. We're back with our guests, Alizar Tawil and Kady Meite from Vale Street and Ruuq. We're going to take a little time to get our wiggles out and talk a little bit about kind of our struggles as hijabis, but in a fun way. We'll play a little game. So I want you guys to put up 10 fingers. You might have seen this on TikTok or social media in some way. Put up 10 fingers, and we're going to play Never Have I Ever. Okay? So if you have, then you put a finger down if you have done the thing. So if you have done the thing that I say, you put a finger down. If you have never, you leave it up. Okay? Okay. So never have I ever used a blanket as a hijab when the package gets delivered at the front door. I have. Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Use hijab as a bib to catch food when it falls into your hijab, and then like you eat the little scrap that fell into the hijab.
Oh yeah.
I definitely have. Like you grab the chip out, you're like, oh, it's still clean. Never have I ever used my I don't have a hijab on excuse to not be on camera on the Zoom meeting. Everybody else is on camera, but you don't have your hijab on, so the Zoom is off most of the time. Never have I ever used my jersey hijabs to clean my glasses or sunglasses.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's the best one. Even the little ones, they don't compare to a jersey hijab. Okay. Never have I ever had my hijab mistaken as a Halloween costume.
No, I can't say.
No, I have. Someone literally, and I didn't realize it was Halloween because I don't really care about the holiday. I was just on holiday. I was on the vibe, and I was just being myself. And someone's like, "So what are you dressed as?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm Muslim."
Myself?
Yeah. So yeah. Never have I ever gotten asked to remove my hijab for identification purposes.
Oh yeah.
That is really sad. I don't know why people are still doing that. I haven't gone through that, but people definitely have. Never have I ever used my hijab to hold my cell phone up, like stick it in your cell phone.
Maybe once.
No, while driving, maybe because I'm old. I'm much older than you guys. I would always put my cell phone in.
It's very common practice here.
Yeah.
You can still see it. It just sticks out.
Okay. Never have I ever been asked if I shower with my hijab on. That's like one of the silliest questions. But I've never been asked that. People say, okay, we've never been asked that. Okay, me neither. Okay. Never have I ever been asked if I'm hot with that on. You hot with that on? Like
Mhm.
every day of the summer.
Mhm.
We're all hot. We're all hot with that on. Okay.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And never have I ever been empowered to wear the banner of my faith draped beautifully around my head. Just a positive note. You have, like we all have.
Yeah.
If you put your finger down, you have been empowered.
Yeah. I was trying to do the grammar. Yes.
All right, that's it. Thank you for playing my little game.
Thank you.
Hope you guys had fun. Okay, next question. Back to the interview. This is for Ruuq. So we said at the beginning when I read your intro that you won $50,000 of cash and prizes, and then another $25,000 from pitching your brand to these pitch competitions. Mm-hmm. You're a whiz at positioning your brand to get funding, and that's amazing. Because with funding, then you can take that next step. You can take your brand to the next level. You can release more colors. You can make the nursing friendly option, whatever it is. So firstly, I want to ask, what's the next big step for Ruuq? And then what would be like some of your tips for any entrepreneurs out there watching and they want to like pitch their small business to get funding? How do you create that perfect pitch?
Of course. So first of all, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, he truly is the best of planners. And the timing of these pitches that I ended up doing could not have been better, because it's actually the reason why I'm still here today. It is very difficult to keep afloat as a business, especially when you're bootstrapping everything. So alhamdulillah, like you said, this is what's able to fund like more colors, different sizing, get the word out there more. So that's why, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we're still going. Now, in terms of what is next for Ruuq, so right now, we are basically just trying to diversify the platforms where Ruuq is available on, because at the moment, it's only available through our website, and a lot of people come across us through either Instagram or TikTok. But ideally, I want to have it in a way where people will be able to sort of hop upon us in different places. So we just got listed on Amazon, and I'm still in the process of working out the kinks so that it's, people can actually add it to cart, because it is live. But anyways, so that's one. And then we're also exploring wholesale options for other online stores to host our product, as well as brick and mortar, where our products would serve just as complementary to whatever those stores have to offer. And we just want to be that staple in every hijabi wardrobe that knows that, okay, in this event, I can always just like Ruuq it and make whatever outfit I want work. So that's the plans, inshallah. Now, in terms of the perfect pitch, I think the two most important things is, number one, tell your story. It's everything. There's lots of great products out there, but with no story, it lacks heart. And know your numbers, because at the end of the day, it is about business, and people want to see what is the profitability, longevity, how much can you grow? So numbers help. So you definitely need both. Now, whenever I get this question from people, especially those who are even considering like, okay, I have an idea for a business, what should I do? I always encourage them to read the book, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's so great for giving you perspective in terms of what is it that you really want out of this business, and what is it that you have to offer that no one else does. It's phenomenal. I highly recommend it.
Mashallah. I'm really excited for the next steps from Ruuq Wear. And one of the first things that I thought would be a great collaboration, or not even just collaboration, but an area where Ruuq would thrive in terms of if people knew about your product, it would be so useful, is backstage at fashion shows. So if there are any, if there's anyone out there who is like part of fashion show producing, and you have models, not just Muslim models, because it's not just Muslim women who want to stay covered. I, as a stylist, I would work backstage for seasons and seasons. I did DC Fashion Week. I did a show at New York Fashion Week. And the changing process backstage from one look to the next, a lot of times there's compromising of like, your modesty backstage. And I felt like if models had the Ruuq bodysuit, and maybe like a pair of leggings or a skirt or something like that, it could really help them to remain modest as they change from one look to the next, especially the Muslim models. And nowadays, there's a lot more Muslim models at mainstream shows. And we have seen before that some models do complain that, you know, they don't know where to change backstage. Like they have to kind of change in front of people, etc. And if that Ruuq bodysuit was like a part of their model bag, they got their like steamer, they got their lip gloss, they got their Ruuq bodysuit, they got this and that, then, you know, it could really help to solve that problem. So again, just a little plug. You're welcome. So Veil Street is an amazing brand as well. You've positioned yourself as well to, you know, elevate and do more. You went from a hoodie that was like waist length. Now you got the knee length. You have the ones for men. And I actually didn't get to mention that the hijab part actually has a mask as well, doesn't it? Each one has a mask?
No. So for the regular traditional hijab hoodie, it's just regular hijab with the hoodie attached. And then we have the unisex version, I say. So that one has the mask attached to the back and you would just pull it forward. And we've just created a third version, which is like a Hoodski 2.0, just so that you don't have to do all the extra work if you don't feel like doing so. So there's kind of like 3 options now, I say.
Awesome. So what would be the next step for Veil Street? What are you looking to create? I saw kids hoodies. I personally would love a zipper, you know, so I can wear it, you know, and have my baby, feed my baby, etc. There's so many women out there who are like, dang it, I can't wear it. I can't feed the baby in it. So what are your next steps for design?
I think the opportunity is honestly endless. Like the suggestion you just made now, when I hear these suggestions, they're like so amazing. And I want to hear more because I want to know how to perfectly execute it, because I wouldn't know how to, where the placement would be for that, for it to be perfect. But yeah, we're definitely looking into kids. We're looking into active wear. We're right now working on our biggest fall collection for the knee length drop again, because we're looking into even more sizing. I mean, I always knew that I wanted a brand that was incredibly size inclusive. And on my site now, you'll see a lot of products that we have from extra small to 5XL. Half of the time, a majority of the sizes are sold out. So we're preparing for that. I also got some great advice from Alizar as well. We're also preparing to pitch for something. I can't really share details, but that's happening this September. And yeah, a lot of exciting things. And I think I'm just taking it all day by day. Yeah.
Mashallah. That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, one step at a time.
Yeah.
And then there'll be that huge leap. Like something will happen where it's like, now you're just like kind of coasting. Like you're successful, you're doing your thing, you're dropping collections every season, inshallah. Like I really believe that both of you guys will, you know, blow up more than you ever expected. So we'll be back after a short break with a wrap up from our guests. Welcome back to the show. We are at the very end here. Sadly, we do have to say goodbye to our guests. This show has been all about innovative hijab fashion designs. We had really great guests, Alizar Tawil from Ruuq Wear, as well as Kady Meite from Veil Street. I want to thank you both for being here, for letting us into your creative process, for highlighting your design for us. We really, really, really appreciate, especially this is the debut show. So we started off on a really, like the bar is all the way up here. So it's like, for me, the pressure is on to keep it going this well, alhamdulillah. So I wanted to ask you both, and we can start with Alizar. What would be your final takeaway? What's your final word on your brand and the future of, you know, modest fashion? Maybe an encouragement to people to you know, think outside of the box when it comes to their hijab, and also tell us where you can be followed so that people can buy your stuff.
Just Ruuq it. That's about it. No, I mean, honestly, alhamdulillah, I think it is so empowering to know that you can find a happy balance between entrepreneurship and your faith, and also giving back to your community. I think this is a thing that I have been most passionate about, is that I've been able to sort of weave all of these interests, all of these passions through this project that is Ruuq. And to get the feedback that I get from sisters who have purchased the product and they're incorporating it into their daily lives is so rewarding. And it just makes it that much more special, and makes it more than just a business. Because I feel like, inshallah, there's ajr to be had as well. So alhamdulillah for this opportunity. You can find us on all socials practically at Ruuqwear. So it's ruuqwear.com, and Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, Twitter, at Ruuqwear.
Mashallah. Also, for Kady and Vale Street, let us know where you can be followed, and give us your final word, final inspiration for the next people are looking at you and they're going to want to follow in your footsteps. So give it a little bit of encouragement.
So there's a quote that I say has carried me from the age of 16 to now, and it's always been, a goal without steps is just a dream. So whatever your goal is, have a vision for it and have a very clear layout, because honestly, that is what has carried me. I have like my very, very first business plan that I even designed for this brand. That was very, I had high expectations for myself, but like a lot of it is accomplished today. And the second thing would definitely be to pivot. I think in business, people assume that everything is just going to go perfectly well. And I hear a lot of times when people look at me and my business, like, wow, like it's so amazing. It's so put together. It's so professional. And I'm like, I'm winging it every single day. So I want people to remember, like, when things happen, you have to keep going. Like, this is my dream. No matter what is thrown at me, I'm not giving up. So remember to pivot. And to tie that off, like with my social medias, funny enough, my very first account, Hijabi shop, was actually banned at like 55,000. And it was random. It was like TikTok was going through this thing. They were banning so many accounts, even though I had worked with them, and I didn't get it back. And I fought for it for like 2-3 months, and I had to start over. I started over, and now we're where we are today. So pivoting is like the number one thing you can do in business. And lastly, leave all things in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because again, he's the best of all planners. And yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You could find me at Vale Street on every single platform. I very quickly learned my lesson when I put all my eggs into TikTok. So we are on Pinterest, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on anything you can think of at Vale Street.
Mashallah. That's crazy to be banned at that. You said 55,000.
Yes,
it took so long to get followers and build a community. It's not just about getting followers, it's about building that community behind your brand. And then you wake up in the morning and it's like, I can't log into my TikTok. I can't log into my Instagram.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And alhamdulillah, you came out on the other side of that. I want to thank you both for being here. Mashallah, you are amazing, amazing guests. And I guess a final word from me is that my journey, as well as a businesswoman, the owner of CMB Styling, stylist, social media, influencer. I might not sell a product, but I do have a business, right? And I think that a lot of Muslim women are inspired by the story of Khadija radiallahu anha. A lot of times when we talk about Muslim women entrepreneurs, the first name we say is like, just like Khadija, right? Just like Khadija radiallahu anha. She was a successful, thriving businesswoman before it's the coming of Islam, with Angel Jibril in the first revelation. But she maintained her business thereafter. There's nothing about Islam that says that a Muslim woman and having her own business, making her own money, they're mutually exclusive. They can definitely exist in the same person. And we see that over and over and over from people like you two, from myself, from thousands and thousands of Muslim women who have their own businesses. And whether small, big, or mid-size, or, taking it one day at a time, I think a lot of us take inspiration from our first inspiration, which was Khadija radiallahu anha and her business. So we're following in footsteps that trailblazed this path, towards for us. And I think that in walking this path, we'll all be successful. So we want to always purify our intentions, be doing all of this for the sake of Allah. And I love that in hijab fashion, it's kind of like you're being creative and you're expressing yourself through fashion and style. But the hijab part is always, always connected to worshiping Allah. So may Allah bless us all in our journeys. And next week, inshallah, we will have another show. So be sure to tune in to Cover Me Beautiful next week, and stay blessed and covered beautifully.